Now on Nightside, watchdogs saying the curfew at Camp Hope is gone. Why camp organizers have a different story.
The weekend is almost here, and the warm, sunny weather doesn't seem to be letting up. I'll let you know when or if we're going to cool down in the first alert forecast.
And the deadliest massacre in Thailand's history, many of the victims children, the details behind the shooter's rampage. You're watching 4 News Now Nightside. The Washington Department of Transportation tells us the 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew at Camp Hope is now quiet hours. Campers are allowed to leave during those times, but they'll be stopped at the entry gate. Jules Helping Hands tells us they can leave to go to the store, emergencies, and work-related reasons. Some say it needs to be cleared immediately, while others are committed to finding everyone there transitional or permanent housing. Thanks for staying up with us. I'm Aaron Luna.
And I'm Kirsten O'Connor. The Spokane Homeless Coalition hosted a meeting today and a panel discussion at Camp Hope with the goal of finding some common ground. Chris Sen lives there, and Sen says he had a solid upbringing and comes from a family with money. He's a veteran, and he recently had his car break down and then lost his job and couldn't keep up with his bills. Jules Helping Hands hired him as a camp security as just about 4 weeks ago, and he's working on making his way out of homelessness.
It feels like the government just kind of, well, you're home, good luck, and just pushes you off. We were willing to give everything. You would think the government could give us some kind of help in return. It hurts to see people when they point and laugh at you and, names called at you. And, I quit doing that in 3rd grade.
As for Sen's ideal path to housing, he says it just needs to be affordable.
Homelessness was a top priority of yours when it comes to electing a new sheriff, and an issue brought up by the 2 candidates vying for your vote. We have a recap from their debate this afternoon. That's coming up in just 7 minutes. Oh, just a couple days till the weekend. And
meteorologist Chris Crocker is in studio tonight with what we can expect: sunnier days ahead or a true fall weekend. Chris.
Oh, we are going to keep with this warm, sunny theme through the weekend. Here are 4 things to know about your weather. Unseasonably warm conditions will continue through a gorgeous weekend. It's going to be cooler next week, but nowhere near average, and showers very unlikely. Looked like there was a chance briefly. That chance has been evaporating with each successive computer model run. Our high temperatures today, look at all the 80s. 9 Mile, downtown, Spokane Valley. It was 83 in Deer Park today. 78, the official high at Spokane International Airport, almost 15 degrees above average. Temperatures currently are in the 50s and 60s, a little bit slower to cool. We have had some high and mid-level clouds drifting through the region. A broader view shows it 63 in Spokane, 60 in Coeur d'Alene, 50 right now in Moscow and Pullman. This time yesterday, we already had a few 40s on the map, so we are just a little bit warmer, but it will still be a crisp start to the day, right around 50 degrees, 52 at 8 o'clock. We will have again those high and mid-level clouds drifting through, filtering our sunshine at times, but that's not going to impact our temperature. We're heading up to a high of 78. I'll be back to tell you all about the weekend forecast and the little bit of change ahead next week. That's in just a few minutes. Kirsten?
Chris, thank you. In tonight's Crime Watch, we're tracking crime here locally and around the world. 5 people are now facing charges in connection to a deadly August shooting at Franklin Park in North Spokane. 22-year-old Ablos Kios was killed. 3 others were hurt. 4 18-year-olds and an underage teen were arrested in connection to this shooting. 3 of them are facing a murder charge.
Las Vegas police say a man stabbed and killed 2 people on the Strip and hurt 6 others. It happened a little before noon. Police say the suspect attacked with a large kitchen knife. He was arrested. Tourists and witnesses horrified by the violence.
Start hearing at the same time I'm seeing screaming and a guy take off his shirt to give chest compressions to the guy who dropped in front of me. I hear more screaming down here, and then immediately after that more over here, and I'm like, okay, this is even worse than I thought it was.
And a massacre inside a Thailand nursery. 37 people dead, including 24 children. It's being called the deadliest rampage in the country's history.
It's just horrifying. We do want to warn you that the details you're about to hear are disturbing. New on Nightside, ABC's Maggie Ruley reports.
Tonight, Thailand in shock after a former police officer killed at least 36 people in the deadliest rampage in the country's history. Among the dead, at least 22 children, ranging in age from 2 to 5, shot or stabbed to death as they napped at a daycare center. Police saying the attacker went into a frenzy. One teacher who encountered the shooter saying she put her hands together in prayer as he reloaded because she didn't know what else to do. At least 2 teachers were also killed. The gunman continuing his deadly attack as he fled, at least 10 others wounded. Police say he later fatally shot his wife and young son at home, then killed himself. Tonight, as coffins were carried out of the school, grief-stricken families still gathered outside the daycare center. Authorities say the former officer had been fired and was facing drug charges. He'd appeared in court just hours before going to pick his son up from the daycare. When he didn't find him there, police say he began the massacre. Tonight, police acknowledging a delay in their response due to the school's remote location. And police are now conducting an autopsy on the former officer's body to see if there are any drugs in his system. And tonight, authorities are saying that Thailand's king has promised to pay for all medical bills and funeral expenses of the victims. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, London.
The trial for Lori Vallo, also known as the Doomsday Mom, is now delayed.
She's accused of killing her 2 children and her ex-husband. The remains of her 2 kids were found on her now husband, Chad Daybell's property in Freeman County, Idaho, in June of 2020. Vallo and Daybell were indicted for murder more than a year ago. The trial was delayed over concerns about Vallo's competency. The judge ruled in April that she was competent to stand trial, but on Thursday, he said new information from the defense requires a reevaluation. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty in Vallo's case. The fate of abortion in Idaho now lies with the state's Supreme Court justices.
Idaho has outlawed abortions with very few exceptions. Those include rape, incest, or if the pregnancy threatens the life of the woman carrying the child.
Under current law, in the case of rape and incest, a victim must present a police report to the doctor performing the abortion in order to get the procedure.
Planned Parenthood argued that abortion is a fundamental right and protected by the right to privacy in the state constitution. Justices asked the state about the civil enforcement bill that went into effect 6 weeks ago. That bill allows family members like an uncle to sue medical providers who perform abortions on family members, regardless of how distant that family member may be. It's unclear how long it will take to reach a decision, but we do know 4 of the 5 justices lean conservative. Also a factor at play here, 2 of these justices are up for re-election come November.
As we get closer to Election Day, we want to hear from you. Send us your questions and we will take them to the candidates. You can find the form to submit those questions. Just go to KXLY.com. Well, 2 candidates for sheriff are vying for your votes.
Issues most important to them and to you, and how they plan to find solutions. And a levy for East Valley schools coming to your ballot. Why school officials say they desperately need repairs.
And thousands with drug charges may be pardoned. Biden's newest plan to tackle marijuana. Nightside will be right back.
Times are for kids. Grown-ups watch TV. Are you going to go to other countries with the tour, or are you staying here in the United States?
They barely like it here.
4 News Now on your time with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
4 News Now is brought to you by the Coeur d'Alene Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Joe Biden's open borders have threatened our neighborhoods and our children's safety. Fentanyl-related deaths have increased right here in Idaho. Gang members transport fentanyl and other dangerous drugs into our schools and communities. This has got to stop. I'm Mike Crapo. I approve this message. It's time we control the borders and shut down the pipeline of drugs and violence into Idaho.
At Washington Trust Bank, can't is a 4-letter word.
I think we should hire more people.
Doug, late for a meeting.
Hey, we need to build a home office.
We're adding another bathroom.
We need a warehouse.
I can't imagine how we do that.
We believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, and we'll help you get there. Washington Trust Bank, privately owned, locally invested.
New tonight.
Biden pardoned prior federal offenses for marijuana possession. The move stops short of full decriminalization, which will probably have to wait until we have President Woodrow Harrelson.
Plus, David Spade, Jimmy Kimmel Live, new tonight on ABC.
While you're sleeping tonight, trust that Good Morning Northwest is following breaking news to keep you safe.
And want to support local businesses? The Small Biz Shop in River Park Square makes it easy. See what's inside tomorrow on Good Morning Northwest.
Democrats in Washington are threatening our way of life. Reckless spending fueling inflation. Shutting down energy production here at home. A push to defund the police. Kathy McMorris Rogers is fighting every day to stop them and protect Eastern Washington. Cutting spending to curb inflation, unleashing American energy production, and making sure law enforcement has the resources they need. Kathy McMorris Rogers, our voice.
I'm Kathy McMorris Rogers, and I approve this message.
4 News Now is brought to you by Post Falls Volkswagen.
Thanks for staying with Nightside. When it comes to electing the new sheriff, you told us you care about homelessness, crime, and holding people accountable. In the sheriff's debate we streamed this afternoon live on KXLY.com, both candidates say they're ready to tackle those issues. In our For the People coverage tonight, Esther Bauer has the recap.
Sheriff Showdown has begun. John Knowles is the current undersheriff and Wade Nelson is a retired detective. Both say homelessness is out of control in the county. They agree being homeless by itself shouldn't be criminalized, but certain actions should.
The problem is we have stopped holding people accountable for low-level misdemeanors and just dismissing it as something we as citizens have to deal with because they're homeless or have one of those issues. We need to start holding people accountable for violating the law.
The acts that you do are what are criminal. So if you're breaking the law, you need to be held accountable. But I also believe, like John was saying too, that there has to be that back-end program that truly gets that person his dignity back, gets them off the drugs, the mental health they need, so when they come back into our society, they don't just repeat.
When it comes to housing criminals and having enough space in the jail, the issue isn't new. It's been debated for years. Now both candidates say it's time to talk about building a new correction center.
I am 100% for a new jail. I know it's an expensive thing that needs to happen. It's something as community leaders we all need to come together and really look at.
The crime that we are being subjected to right now, part of it is driven by the fact that we can't hold anybody accountable and put them in jail. And we can't provide the services that we all agree need to be provided.
They know it will cost taxpayers millions of dollars, and both say it should come to a public vote first. They've both worked in law enforcement for decades, but when it comes to who's ready for the job, those qualifications are being called into question.
You wouldn't hire the concrete finisher to run that project top to bottom. The citizens of Spokane County require and deserve an executive who has worked in every level of law enforcement.
In the Sheriff's Department, I chose a different path than most. I didn't want to move up as sergeant in that way. I wanted to be in leadership positions in specialty teams that still served and touched the community the whole time through.
2 candidates facing off for one office, with your vote deciding their destiny and who's best to lead public safety in the county.
A federal judge has ruled Postmaster General Louis DeJoy's changes to the Postal Service hurt mail delivery in 2020, so much so he was accused of slowing down service before the 2020 election. In mid-2020, DeJoy cut the number of mail sorting machines and prevented postal workers from making extra trips to deliver ballots. The D.C.-based federal judge put in place orders to prevent DeJoy from doing the same thing again.
Another beautiful sunset around the inland northwest tonight with just a few clouds to add some character. There's also a haze on the horizon from wildfire smoke trapped under a ridge of high pressure. That is both from area wildfires burning around the region as well as some prescribed burns. Things get a lot worse as you head over into the Wenatchee area, Chelan, where the fires in the Cascades are causing some serious problems with air quality. We could really use a cold front or two, but it looks like this ridge is stronger than we thought initially. Partly cloudy skies tonight, 51 degrees for an overnight low. Partly cloudy tomorrow. We will see some high and mid-level clouds moving through our ridge of high pressure, but nothing coming out of those clouds and just barely enough to filter the sunlight at times. Here's our forecast. Ridge of high pressure in place. I'm going to go all the way through the weekend because this ridge is going to be with us in some form for the next several days. We were watching an area of low pressure in the Aleutian Islands here Sunday at 10 that looked like it was going to move down on us and bring some cooler weather and possibly even a shower. But the high pressure building in from the west is too strong for it. It's going to send it off to the east. We may cool down just a little bit as we're on the eastern side of that ridge early next week, but we're just going to be dropping down into the upper 60s, which is still close to 10 degrees above average by this time next week. Overnight lows tonight will be in the 40s and 50s. These temperatures above average. Obviously, these are as well by about 15 degrees. We'll be in the 70s and 80s again tomorrow. We're going to stay warm and sunny through the weekend, right on through Monday, 75. There's our big cool down, upper 60s, and overnight lows, meanwhile, still staying above freezing. Keep those gardens going for another week. Perhaps another 2 weeks. Wait till you see the 8 to 14-day outlook. That's coming up in just a few minutes, Aaron.
Chris, thank you. In the upcoming November election, the East Valley School District is asking voters for help. District officials say an existing levy is now expiring. An $18.5 million renewal levy will be spent on new roofs, heating and cooling systems, and more security cameras. High school officials say 30-year-old roofs are a major headache, especially when it rains.
We have leaking that will run down the side of a wall. A lot of times ceiling tiles will become swollen with water. Sometimes they break through.
The East Valley School District wants to fix this. If renewed, taxpayers will still pay the same amount over the next 4 years. They would pay 75 cents per $1,000 in assessed home value.
The Reardon School was evacuated today. Spokane County deputies told Reardon police an angry dad might have made threatening comments about going down to schools and picking up kids, and those were kids he's not supposed to be around. The school then went on a modified lockdown while police tried to find the dad, and when he couldn't be found, school officials evacuated the school and released students to their parents. Now, because of a previously planned teacher in-service day, there will be no school there tomorrow.
What was thought to be a distraction from school is now part of study. The gaming industry is growing, and some high school students in Spokane are learning the basics of how to create a video game.
I play a lot of video games in my free time. I keep it on me at all times.
At the community school, students are learning about coding languages. Coding languages used to program games, how they look, how they interact with the player. At Lewis and Clark High School, there's a digital gaming class. Students are learning game design, animation, and graphics and programming. The teacher says creating a game is another way to write a story and encourages students of all backgrounds to be a part of the course. President Biden is pardoning thousands of Americans convicted of simple marijuana possession under federal law.
It's already legal in many states, and criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, to educational opportunities.
The executive action will benefit 6,500 people with prior federal convictions and thousands of others charged under Washington, D.C.'s local law. The president is calling on governors to do the same for state possession offenses. He also wants the Secretary of Health and Human Services, along with the Attorney General, to review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law, saying it makes no sense that it's a Schedule I drug in the same category as heroin and LSD. We have much more coming up tonight on Nightside,
including the nation's favorite Halloween candy and the treats Washington and Idaho prefer, plus a perfect storybook ending for one catcher who is retiring. How the day was made even sweeter by his kids when we come back.
Stream 4 News now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
If you're turning 65 soon or over 65 and planning to retire, now's the time to learn more about an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan from United Healthcare and get help protecting yourself from the out-of-pocket costs Medicare doesn't pay. Because the time to prepare is before you go on Medicare.
Don't wait. Get started today.
Call United Healthcare for your free decision guide.
Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning is your family-owned and operated #1 HVAC contractor in the Northwest. Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning would like to introduce our own carbon reduction program. Buy a new energy-efficient furnace from Bill's Heating and receive a matching air conditioner with installation absolutely free. No hidden fees, no conditions, no exceptions. Buy a furnace, get a free AC from Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call today for estimates and repairs.
My son's name was Carson. He was just the light of my life. His anxiety and his inability to sleep caused him to purchase a pill from Snapchat, and we know that it's what killed him. Congresswoman McMorris Rodgers is bringing awareness to this. She personally reached out to me. She took the time to hear Carson's story. She has been driven in trying to prevent further loss.
I'm Kathy McMorris Rodgers, and I approve this message.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. But one day, this farmer will use augmented reality to help ensure the best yield. Urban planners will model traffic solutions to help decrease commute times. Exploring a spacecraft in a museum is one thing. But one day, the metaverse will help students learn about the rings of Saturn. The metaverse may be virtual, but the impact will be real.
4 News Now is brought to you by Sandpoint Furniture Carpet One.
Thanks for staying up with us.
I love being a mom, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, even on the hard days, because it makes the good days just that much sweeter.
Well, that's Katie Strickland. She is a single foster mom. She's blind, and right now she's fostering a 7-month-old and a 3-year-old. She's crossed many hurdles on her journey to becoming a mom, and she hopes to inspire others to become foster parents or give back to foster children. You can see her full story right now on KXLY.com. It's the best job around, being a mom.
Love that story, too. Well, 78 was our high today. If our temperatures ever do return to average, it is going to become quite a shock to our systems, I'm afraid. 64 is our average high. Look at our average morning low, 42. We were at 51 this morning. Sunset these days, 619. Here is our temperature trend over the next 7 days. This white line down here is average, and by this time next week, it will be in the upper 50s. So we have got quite a ways to go to get to average, even with our big dip early next week into the upper 60s. We are not even in the ballpark, and it looks like that is going to continue. Now, here's the latest from the Climate Prediction Center. The outlook for October 14th all the way through the 20th, and I'm not sure if you can see the demarcation line here, but we are in the darkest, almost red on the key over here, indicating a very strong signal of above average temperatures for that time period. They're not going out on a limb with this forecast. That ridge of high pressure that I showed you earlier, holding tough, keeping the precipitation away as well. Here's our precipitation outlook, and boy, this is the really bad news. We need some good rains to get going on some of those fires, and eventually snows will help that as well. In the meantime, what a beautiful sunset in our pick of the night tonight. This is from Lynn O'Neill, who sends gorgeous photos from Diamond Lake, and they've been especially pretty this week. Thank you so much, Lynn, for sharing that beautiful sunset with us.
That's a great shot. Well, you know, it might be warm enough to wear certain Halloween costumes. You don't have to cover them up with jackets.
That's always a plus, or under, even worse.
Yeah, it's true. So that's the bonus there. Speaking of Halloween, favorite Halloween candies?
I am shameless in taking all of the kids' 100 grand bars. I also demand Whoppers occasionally.
Oh, Whoppers, not bad.
I'm always looking for the Hershey bars.
Oh,
those are
just the straight chocolate? Yeah.
Or the dark chocolate, or the almond chocolate. Just, if it says Hershey on it, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm anything chocolate.
Anything chocolate.
Kit Kat, you know, things like that. Come on, give me a break. CandyStores.com just released their interactive map of all 50 states' favorite Halloween candies. Nationwide, the most popular Halloween candy? Reese's Cups.
Yeah, that's another good
Washington's favorite is Tootsie Pops, for who knows why.
Oh,
Idaho
weird.
loves Snickers. Again, nationwide, the most popular Halloween candy was Reese's Cups, followed by Skittles. Second place, M&M's taking third. Starburst and Hot Tamales. Round out the top 5. I think this is a marketing scam. CandyStore.com used 15 years of sales data to complete the list. That's why 15 years. No, you got to only go back to 3 to 5.
I think we named them all. I can't think of, well, I guess Sour Patch Kids. I didn't
Mike
hear
and
that
Ike.
one. It's a favorite. One of my best friends.
Sweet Tarts.
Sour, then they get
Pixie Sticks.
Oh, I see the Pixie
Gobstoppers.
Sticks. Oh, Butterfinger.
Ooh,
Did
I
we
like
talk about
Butterfinger.
you
I do
know.
like Butterfinger.
Okay, well, we're all
We
hungry
better
now.
move on.
This is a storybook ending for the Oakland A's catcher, Stephen Vogt.
It was his last game before retiring, and his kids stepped in to really make it extra special.
Now batting! Our dad! Number 21! Stephen Vogt!
Well, those are his 3 kids stepping into the PA booth announcing their dad. They threw out the first pitches, of course, with their dad catching, but the cherry on top was when Dad hit a home run. Well, Vogt called it everything he could have ever dreamed of. That's a pretty cool ending there.
That's even better than those walk-up songs. I've seen dads do Baby Shark as they're walking up for their kids.
Well,
but
yeah.
they're the kids got to be a part of it. That's awesome.
pretty cool. There are some major things happening in sports across the inland Northwest.
From a major matchup for the Cougs and the road to the playoffs for the Mariners. That's all coming up right after the break. Nightside will be right back.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
Security video captures a little girl by herself.
How old are you, sweetheart? She's 3 years old. She's in the parking lot standing here by herself with a pillow.
She had blood on her.
The hair is just sticking up on my arms.
Oh my gosh, there's blood on the front seat.
This Teacher of the Year just vanished.
Solving the crime comes down to a child.
What actually happened was extraordinary.
The all-new 2020 event, Friday at 9/8 Central on ABC.
My husband has diabetes.
Even with health insurance, we're having a hard time affording our medications.
Thankfully, we have Patty Murray fighting for us in the U.S. Senate. She kept at it till Congress finally lowered the cost of prescription drugs.
And capped insulin for seniors at $35 a month.
Now we'll save thousands every year. We know when Patty is back in the other Washington.
She is working for us.
I'm Patty Murray, and I approve this message.
If you're looking to score big on the best lineup of new and used vehicles, then come on down to Findlay. At Findlay Downtown Toyota, we've got over 3 blocks full of great choices, including the popular Toyota Tacoma and RAV4, perfect for the winter months ahead. And right now, you can also get great financing up to 60 months. So if you're looking for a touchdown of savings, you can find it at Findlay. Findlay Toyota's downtown.
For Detroit, high drive, left field. Say goodbye to that one.
Seattle Mariners are in Toronto tonight, resting up for their first playoff game in 21 years. They closed out the season last night with a win over the Detroit Tigers. They take on the Blue Jays tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the first game of a best-of-3 series. Luis Castillo will take the mound for the Mariners. Game 2 will be Saturday. If there's a Game 3, you'll be able to watch it Sunday right here on 4 News Now at 10 a.m. Well, big announcement from Gonzaga University today.
The men's basketball team will play Kentucky in each of the next 6 years, and that's a big-time matchup for the Zags. Kentucky's one of the most storied programs in the country. A couple months ago, Gonzaga announced the Wildcats would come to Spokane in November to take on the Zags, and then next year, Zags will travel to Kentucky and play in the fabled Rupp Arena. The new agreement adds 2 more games at neutral sites, another one at Rupp Arena, and then the 6th game will be in the McCarthy Center, and that one will be a wild atmosphere for sure. Both teams are national championship contenders this year.
This year's game will be at the arena on November 20th. Tickets have not yet gone on sale. The WSU Cougar football team, they're on a tear.
They're looking to crack into the top 25, and a win this weekend could help them do just that.
Alex Crescenti shows us what they need to do for a win over the USC Trojans.
There's not many people who thought a month ago the Washington State Cougars would be 4-1 at this point in the season. But here we are, 2 wins from bowl eligibility and in the thick of the conference race. However, their play has not been as clean as the coaches would have liked, as the turnovers have plagued the offense time and time again this season, and that's got to change if they want to beat USC this week. After turning the ball over just 18 times last year, the 2022 Washington State Cougars are on pace to blow that statistic out of the water by season's end. But just how bad have they been at protecting the ball this year? Well, in each of the first 5 games, the offense has coughed it up at least twice and hasn't won the turnover battle a single time, with the defense only being able to get 8 takeaways themselves, also down from 2021. So to be sitting with a positive record at this point is just quite remarkable.
You know, our turnover margin, to be 4-1 and be one of probably last in the league in turnover margin, it's going to be hard to continue that success.
For a quarterback, it's ball security, it's job security. I live by that every day, and that's something that I didn't do today. So just clean up things in the film room.
And the team has got their work cut out for them studying film this week, as they'll be going up against a USC team that has been absolutely dominant in this category, forcing 15 turnovers on defense and allowing 1, yes, just 1, on the offensive side of the ball. So in order for the Cougs to stay in the game, Cam Ward and company will have to stay out on the field and not force it like we've been seeing so far. So maybe if we see more of this, maybe, just maybe, they can pull off the upset win.
Download the 4 News Now app today. At 4 News Now, we believe you should expect more from local news. Our team is committed to a community conversation and bringing you information you need when and where you need it. Numerica believes in and supports that mission.
We actually have a new service that we're providing with video banking. We're here to really help them and connect on a way that other institutions really can't.
Here at the Meade School District, energy management, it's been something that's been on the rise as far as what's important to us. The reason why is, as the budget continues to shrink, we need to do more with less. Yeah, I love Avista. They've been really great to work with. When I have energy efficiency ideas, I get in touch with my rep. They'll go back to their project managers and to the engineers. Avista does a really great job at telling you what the simple payback will be of any of the projects, and then you can make an educated decision on whether you want to move forward.
The 2022 Mazda CX-9. Now with standard iActive all-wheel drive. It's nimble, it's intuitive, it's a 3-row CUV that doesn't drive like one.
The 7-passenger Mazda CX-9 was built for the Pacific Northwest. Come take a test drive and reserve yours today at Foothills Mazda. Or shop now at SpokaneMazda.com.
It says here, United Healthcare has America's most chosen Medicare plans and local Medicare plan experts.
They'll even find you a plan with good dental coverage.
How do you know?
Scott, my local Medicare plan expert. He helped me find the right plan.
With benefits including prescription, drug, vision, and dental coverage, our Washington team is ready to help you find a Medicare plan that meets your needs and budget.
Talk to a local Medicare plan expert today at 1-888-SHOP-UHC.
See breaking news in your area or have a story idea? Contact 4 News Now.
Here's your weekend forecast. It is going to be lovely. Temperatures in the 70s, blue skies and sunshine. So many fun things to do.
It's going to be so warm you might want to shave the sides of your head. Just the sides.
Okay.
Business in the front, party in the back. The mullet is making a big comeback. Fans are looking to crown the best of 2020. There's a USA Mullet Championship. And get this, one of the top 25 finalists this year is a man from Oregon.
Oh.
It's pretty good. It looks like that guy from Tears for Fears.
You sound like you're making fun, but I think the mullet is great. I tried to get my husband to go into the mullet look.
I had one. I've got photos.
My hair only grew up and out.